G'day everyone, I'm Smokescreen and welcome back to another video, and we kick it off straight into a race. You can see we are straight into it. We've already started and I'm in control of my vehicle at present time. So we actually kept the qualifying time, 43.8 or something. I think that's what it was, if I remember correctly, but it puts us once again in second place. But I think this race is going to be a little bit closer with the leader this time, as Memo goes quite wide going through turn 6 there into turn 7. But he sort of not quite driving the way I would expect the leader to drive, although of course I can't talk because I would be driving very averagely if I was in first place, or if I was in any position really. But we continue on. But as I just sort of took a bit of a dig at him, he's actually got out a few tenths on me, so he's pretty much 7 tenths behind as we go quite wide through turn 11, so it's been a very average opening lap here at Alsace Village 2. So we're once again in the Super GT Group 2 cars in Gran Turismo Sport, going around Alsace Village in the incorrect direction, or the reverse direction if you're not cynical. But let's see where this race leads us to. So Memo is also driving the Nissan GT-R Motul Ortec from 2016, and he's driving it now very well. He's gotten into his rhythm and got out a second on me, but we'll see how we go. But that was a opening lap, so that's supposedly where the action is supposed to be, when everyone is sort of bunched together from the start. But it was really nothing spectacular here. As I go through the final corner, and you can see I get out a second on the guy in third. So I'm once again in my own little pocket of air as we go through turn 2 now, slide it through turn 2 and short shift, actually I leave it in second there. But we skip ahead to lap 5, so this is the in lap now. We're going to have a good in lap, supposedly. But you see the leader loses it on the exit of turn 3, so he's obviously just clipped the grass, probably aided by worn tyres, and you can see we've actually caught up all that ground that he's worked so hard over the first half of the race to try and get out on me. But we are right on his tail now. Let's see if we can put a move before we go into the pits, as he goes really wide going through turn 7. I'll go into the back of him. You can see through the course of the fighting we've got third place Rina Papa on my tail also, so it's now a 3-way battle for the lead on the in-lap, lap 5, or it could be an in-lap I guess if you're doing the undercut. I actually don't remember which lap I go in, but we continue anyway. So as we go through turn 11, let's see what happens. I actually slide really wide, just brake a little bit too late and bin it off the side of the track. So that really takes me out of contention for that leading position after his mistake at the beginning of the lap. Things were looking up, but things are now thoroughly looking down as I decide to bin it myself. So we've now got the attention of Ken with Mission behind, so we're going to fast forward to the end of the lap here, so you can just monitor that gap between me and Ken with Mission. I actually get out quite a bit of time coming out of turn 15, so that translates to a pretty much 1.6 second lead on him, but he actually decides to go into the pits. So Memo stays out 6.3 seconds ahead, so we fast forward once again, so let's monitor that gap to Memo there, 6.7, 6.5, as we go through as we go into turn 10. It ends up being 7 seconds ahead, so he's driving very well for very worn tyres at the moment. But you can see I was right on his tail, and I'm now 6.5 seconds behind, so that spin cost me about 6 seconds. Well, not really spin, a bin cost me about 6 seconds. So as you go through the final corner, this is my in-lap now, so we bring it round to the pit entry, which is very sort of narrow to the exit of that corner there, but we go in with 56% of fuel. So we're going to get 4 brand new racing hard tyres, and we're going to not refuel, as it's the multiplier is perfect to get to the end of the race on one tank. But we just awkwardly try to go up the inside of Ken with Mission, results in a bit of contact, but we just let him go back ahead. He's driving with his hazards on, so that's a valid tactic that drivers can use. Can just distract the person behind or in front if you look behind and see hazard lights on. It's just an extra bit of visual noise to prevent me from racing at my best. But we're not going to try and fall victim to such a dirty tactic of being a hazard on the track. But he goes really wide coming through turn 10. Can I quite capitalise on it? I'm on the power, and I don't think it's going to be quite enough for an overtake. So he's swerving all over the place. Brake nearly going to the back of him going through turn 11, but I think we just managed to get through there okay without contact. So let's see what happens through turn 13. He goes in, actually takes a nice line, but he just goes off the outside of the track really slow, comes back on, I go past, and that is a valid climb up into third position. But you see by the end of lap 10 we got someone with a penalty up ahead. It is first place, he's got a penalty, blue flags are out, which means there's also a back marker up there somewhere, but he's got himself a penalty and he's just serves it there. So there he is, ghosted. Let's see if it's enough to get him into the final corner. It's not going to be enough, so that's Rinapapa. He was right on our tail before we had a stupid bin through turn 11. But this is the final lap now, so let's see if we can make a move on Rinapapa before the end of this race, or will we manage to bin it again into some form of a wall at some point during this lap, once again, thus proving my badness as a driver. But let's see if we can go up the inside going through turn 6. It's not a great idea as it's downhill and you've really got to use all of the track there, but he actually did leave a bit of space on the inside, but I don't think it was going to be a valid move. Slowest corner on the track now. Let's see who gets the best traction out of it. It's going to be me. I get the best traction going out of there, and I'm now in his slipstream as we go through turn 9 now as we speak into turn 10, the long left-hander. Nice banking there. We're on the power. He's very wide. Oh, we're side by side as we exit the corner. Am I going to give him enough space? Yes, we are. We get through there without contact. That is excellent driving from the both of us. But I just put some icing on the cake and go a little bit deep going into turn 11. I just allow him to get back past, thus undoing all my work. But not to worry. We've got a few corners left. Alsace, of course, is peppered with overtaking opportunities, so I'm not too worried yet until we get to the final corner and we're still behind him. That is when I'll be worried. Going through turn 14 now, we just touch the grass on the inside, we go a little bit wide, trying to get all the power to get out of it, and we end up spinning it around with 3 corners to go. Oh, the pain. It is so painful trying to be a driver on Gran Turismo Sport. You just see half the bloody field passes us, and we end up in 6th place of 13. We actually end up sort of spun in the wrong direction long enough for a disqualification message to come up. So disqualification, if you're basically like just not doing anything, you will be disqualified from the race. But so you can just see how much time I lost there. So of course I'm still 20 seconds ahead of the guy in 7th, so that just goes to show the sheer spread of the field. But you see we managed to cross the line in 6th position. So Group 2, you're really got to be able to know what you're doing consistently throughout the whole race, through each corner, down each straight, in each braking zone to be able to get the most out of it, otherwise you end up making a mistake like that. But we move on. So we start up the final race that's going to be in this video today. Let's see if we can finally convert a consistent drive into a good result, because that is what I have been failing to do these last few times around. So we've got in 2nd place an SB rated player, Ravenga. That's a very interesting sort of combination of ratings there. So to have S rated DR, you've got to finish top, I think it's top 100 in your region in FIA Nations Cup, or top 10 within your manufacturer for Manufacturers Cup. So there are other sort of modes on here that you can do. But it's always normally paired with SR, S-rated SR, so SS is normally what you see, but SB is very weird, so he's done very well in a FIA Nations or Manufacturers Cup, but then absolutely had an awful time in daily races after the fact. So you keep your SDR no matter what your DR is once you reach it, but that's, yeah, so that's quite weird on him. So he's actually more like probably a BB rated player at the moment. I'm of course am also BB, so we should be pretty evenly matched. But let's have a look at the opening lap there. He actually nearly goes up the inside going through turn 7 there as we begin the first lap now. But we're going to come up to the amazingly banked corner, except we're going to go through turn 9 first. You can see he's a tenth ahead. I'm a tenth ahead at the moment. We go through there, trail brake nicely on the power, bring the car down for a late apex, and then use that sort of hump to bring the car out. Now let's not brake too late going into turn 11 like we've done a couple of times previously. We actually get that down pat this time. You can see, thanks to that, we pull out a second gap. But you can just see how quickly these races can change. If I make a mistake, he's going to catch all that ground up. But nothing much happened between then and now, going into turn 15 of lap 6. So this is, of course, the in-lap now. So this is the most worn my tyres are going to be. But this is where we see strategy play out. So this is where the overcut sort of becomes apparent here. You can see how much time is gained or lost during the pit stop phase. So keep in mind, going into the pits, we bring it right out, and then into the pits, we're call it a second ahead of Revenga there, and we go in with 56% of fuel. So the guy in third is 15 seconds behind, so we're really not going to see much of him for the rest of the race now. So Revenga actually stayed out. You see he's got 8 seconds on me now, but he's on worn tyres, so he's throughout this entire lap is going to have more worn tyres than I did on my previous lap, which is the most worn my tyres are ever going to be for the race. So you can just see throughout the first couple of corners, have a look at that gap where it's now under 7 seconds behind him now, and it's soon to be under 6 seconds as we go through the next few corners now. We're fast forwarding this, so I just want you to have a look at that gap. 6.4 seconds behind now. It was 8 at the beginning of the lap. We've just dipped under 6 and it's 5.5 now, but we finally bring it back to real time where we're 5.4 seconds behind Revenga and he goes into the pits. And you can see I'm on the main straight already, so we're going to see how much time I gain by going in a lap before him, or really it's how much time he lost by going in a lap later than me. So the only really valid strategies are going in at the end of lap 5 or the end of lap 6. So going in at the end of lap 7 is really not a viable strategy. And you see by the end of the pit stop phase, I was 4.2 seconds behind. And you can see that translates at the end of the race to a victory of 5.4 seconds. Or actually, could not be a victory yet. Let's see what happens around the final corner. We get around this corner nicely. We're on the power, a little bit of oversteer, but that is okay. We're 5.4 seconds behind Revenga, and we have a little celebratory spin across the line, and it's going to be finally, at long last, a conversion into first place. As you can see, he roars past there, but yeah, so at the beginning of the pit stops, I was a second ahead. At the end of the pit stops, I was over 4 seconds ahead. So that's, you can see that's how much time he lost by having an extra lap on very, very worn tyres. You can see I get 3 stars, pole position, fastest lap, and a clean race, and that means that translates into a victory in my Nissan GT-R Group 2 machine. So there we go. That's my sort of first few races in Super GT category in Gran Turismo Sport, and I'm very happy to bring home a first place. But that's going to be the end of the video today, so just let me know that you liked it by hitting that like button down below, and I do seriously urge you to subscribe if you like my content. You'll see amazing videos like this in your subscription box every week, maybe even a couple of times a week, every week. So I do urge you to subscribe. But that is going to be the end of the video today, and that means that's it from me. So once again, I do thank you very much for watching. See you later.